So Kelly, as we finish up then, I do want to ask you through the lens of the coach, the coachee, and the administrator. So let's talk about the role of the administrator in the virtual coaching process. I can tell you from my end, at the beginning of the process is when I most work with the supervisor or the administrator. They come to us. We do a little vetting with them. As I said, we're not in the business of trying to get rid of teachers at all. And if that's what their intention is, they want to use us as part of the paperwork or one of the RTIs in order to be able to release this teacher. We're not interested in that. But I will have to say that I haven't had a single supervisor that I felt came to us with that intent. Mm-hmm. So they come to us, we ask them to complete an information sheet for that teacher that they want us to work with. And that information sheet asks them to talk to us about what the strengths of that teacher are. And sometimes that's left blank. We ask them to talk about some of the areas that need to be worked on and those handoff goals they'd like for us to work on. We ask what those teachers are involved in. Sometimes they're the basketball coach, or they're the cheerleading supervisor, or they're the chess club organizer. They're doing other things in the school that might be contributing a little bit to. And sometimes when they write down that teacher's schedule, there are 3 or 4 preps that they're working with. So there's lots of things going on in that information sheet. Helps us to understand what some of those things are as well. And so we get that information sheet, and we get just that first glimpse of what some of the needs of the teachers are. And then we do that matching up or pairing up with our virtual coach. So let me hand this off to you now, because when you get that coachee, when you get the teacher who needs to be coached, where do you see, how do we include the supervisor or the principal or administrator within that process after I've handed that off to you?
So after, one of my responsibilities every week is to turn in a coaching report. And I tell the coachee, and this is true, that it is a very objective document that I fill out, that it is not going to go into depth of some of the sometimes serious in nature conversations we have about students and whatever. That's not going to go in there. But we just need to let that administrator know that, hey, we are following through. Here are the expectations for the week. Here's kind of their homework, although I don't really like that term, but here's what they need to accomplish, and when I'm going to accomplish these goals and when they're going to accomplish these goals. And then at the bottom, we also list the resources that we want that coachee to look at. Now, I don't bombard any teacher with a ton of resources. I think it's too much. So I try to pick just 1 or 2 little things that they can review and that we can talk about, because I do want to talk about those pieces the following week. And if you give them too much, it's going to be too much. So, and oftentimes that administrator will take a look at those resources that we provide, and possibly some have used them in their own professional development because they are strong resources that Sibme does provide. At the end of the cycle, so we do that for every single week, and at the end of the cycle, after all 6 sessions are completed, we have a phone conversation with that administrator. And the conversations have all been uniquely different. Many of them, some of them last 30, 40 minutes, some of them last 15, 20 minutes. Either way, it's still wonderful. But we talk about some of the growth that we've seen. And honestly, it's been a love fest every single time I've had one. The teachers, all of the teachers that I've worked with are just absolutely inspiring and wonderful, and have really shown significant growth and built that confidence. And that administrator has paid attention and seen that kind of growth, and are very, very pleased with the process. And then we oftentimes, I end with, what's next? It's the so what. And what are we going to do, or what is the administration in the school going to do to continue to support that teacher? And we have a good conversation about that, because although I feel confident that I hand off the baton appropriately and they're ready to go, they're still going to need that confidence boost. They're still going to need observations. They're still going to need resources and strategies to put in their toolkit. And so we end typically with that conversation.